dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me. Just call on me.
After an amazing race at the Milwaukee Mile last week, we stay in the Midwest and come to Chicagoland this week for round 11 of the Western States Racing League Tuesday Night Trucks. Tony Trapasso up in the booth with you tonight, joined with me by my partner in crime, the man over on the ones and twos, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Dave Regal. And Dave, I'm excited for some Chicagoland racing. We haven't been here in a long time.
Not only have we not been here in a long time, but also this is not normal on the NASCAR schedule as things have been switched around. So this is definitely an iRacing.com exclusive tonight on ESPN. I am absolutely thrilled to be here tonight as we see the drivers getting ready to climb in that window and start their qualifying attempts here. As I'm going to take a look at Bentley Glazer, of course, normally up front, which seems like he's usually up there.
Yeah, usually, Bentley's usually one of the ones to beat. Let's see, Bob Beltrami out on track, Daryl Scott's out on track, James Campbell, Richard McClure, Angelo Espo is here tonight, Earl Weaver's back with us. Christian Bishop in the 26 sets the initial quick time with a 31:10. Going to be interesting to see what type of times we're going to be able to see tonight.
And as we're waiting for Bentley Glazer to come out on track and lay that qualifying attempt, I take a look here at the standings in the Western States Racing League. Bentley Glazer does sit atop those standings there on top of the pile with 422 total points, followed by Jeff Schmeier in that double deuce with 381. Schmeier, I haven't seen out on track tonight yet, so that's going to definitely be changing. Brian Barnes sits in third place right now, followed by Wayne Hutchison and Bob Beltrami, your top five. Beltrami now sitting atop the pile here after his first qualifying lap, as he is going to be wound up going for his second.
As he did during the hot lap session as well. Interesting track we're going to be running on tonight, and it was one of the first progressive bank tracks that NASCAR did, mile and a half, of course, and there's no real straightaway here. You never actually stop turning the truck. And I mean, if we can get a good shot of somebody coming down the back chute, it's not a straightaway. It's far from it. But Rob Gall apparently just jumped to the top of the heap there with a 30.96. So
here we are riding along with Charles Woods in the number 40 United States Postal Service truck, and we can see that back straightaway, not really a straightaway, it's more of a curve away, as he now enters turn 3 on his second lap here in qualifying. So you're absolutely right, as this is not really an oval as much as it is an egg-shaped track.
Very much so. And, you know, the thing is, you never really stop turning the truck. So that right front just takes a beating all race long, as quite a few names still have yet to post times in qualifying. Dennis Fuson jumps up to 7th quick with his attempt, as we are still waiting for quite a few to lay down a time, including your points leader, Bentley Glazer, who's not been out on track yet. Jeff Schmeier is here tonight, has not been out on track yet. Jeff Hollingsworth, Kyle McCartney, Carl Burke. And I'm kind of digging the rig that Scott Kukas is driving tonight, the 85.
Absolutely. And while we're waiting for these other drivers to get on here and qualify for us, we do take a look at the current track conditions. It's 77 degrees here just outside of Chicago. Let's see, the track temperature is 80, so grip is definitely going to be a factor here tonight. And like you just said, never stop turning the truck here at this track, as we're going to take a look here at Barry Phil in the number 42.
One and done for Phil. Or not. I was on the wrong truck, sorry.
Yep, he is now completing that second lap here. And we do see Jeff Hollingsworth in the number 97 Coast Guard Chevrolet coming out to make his first lap, and we'll take a ride here along with him, as he is someone he's usually there at the end. He's always working himself in and around those leaders toward the end. So I would say he's definitely Mr. Consistency, holding on and keeping himself a clean race truck. And I don't think that tonight will be much different at Chicagoland.
Yeah, unfortunately, Hollingsworth has not had the finishes that are indicative of the runs that he's had. Goes 14th quick on his first. Brian Barnes going 18th quick on his first. Kyle McCartney and Carl Burke both out on track right now. And I'm thinking some of these drivers are waiting for that sun to go down a little bit further, as we've already lost 2 degrees of track temperature since we started the broadcast. We will be finishing under the lights here tonight at Chicagoland. So you can see that Moscow lighting already starting to illuminate the track, and Hollingsworth to the top of the heap.
Hollingsworth definitely not wasting any time, as he has laid down a 30.93 second lap. And as I was talking about the standings earlier, Hollingsworth sitting right now 10th on the season standings. So that pile is definitely going to get shuffled around tonight, especially if Jeff Schmeier does not come out here and take a start. So things are definitely turning up here in the Western States Racing League, as I know it's a little early, but I'm excited, with next week being Pocono. So 2 very unique tracks in a row here, as now we're riding along with William Fletcher in the number 28 Ford, and Fletcher just getting ready to start that first lap. 2
very different skill sets for the 3 consecutive weeks. with the short track at Milwaukee, and then here the mile and a half. I would call it a cookie cutter, but it's far from that here at Chicagoland. And then we go to the Tricky Triangle next week. 3 vastly different skill sets needed to really get around those 3 facilities at pace. And, that's really where you see the cream start to rise to the top, is somebody that can put all 3 of those together.
Absolutely. And Carl Burke now getting himself up into that P2, going to start on the outside of row 1. William Fletcher laying down a lap that earned him 20th position to start, and we'll see if he can't get himself a little wound up. Now we'll take a look here at our points leader, Bentley Glazer. Bentley, who has been, ever since I've come alongside of you here in the ESPN broadcast booth, has been just phenomenal week in and week out, keeping this number 87 Gatorade Chevrolet up at the front no matter what the conditions are, whether it's here at a very uniquely shaped track or dirt in Knoxville. Glazer is just absolutely high talent out here on the track.
Yeah, he's usually one of the ones to beat every time we show up, as first lap for Glazer going to put him 21st quick. Jeff Schmeier just finishing up his first flyer as well. With me here.
And we take a look at Schmeier, who's now laying down that second lap, just going into turns 1 and 2. And definitely a driver to keep an eye on here, as now he has made it into the session. So,
wow.
Whoa. Glazer just beat him by 200th of a second.
Yeah, that lap Glazer just laid down was pretty solid. Let's see what Schmeier's going to do on his second.
Gets himself P3 inside of row 2. Absolutely not.
Not bad at all.
Folks, if you're just tuning in, I'm Dave Riegel alongside Tony Trapasso in the ESPN broadcast booth. And if you're watching us on YouTube, subscribe to ESPN, SRM, and turn on those bell notifications, and we'll get into our race schedule, because we have races just about every night of the week for pretty much anything you're really looking for. So we'll talk about that later, but we do welcome you in. We're glad to have you here at Chicagoland Speedway. This is the Western States Racing League, and what an interesting league, Tony. I mean, fixed setups, and these guys are muscling it out every week, going hammer and tongs a lot of times at one another.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, that's the beauty of the iRacing servers, is it gives a league the option of having a fixed setup. So it takes the crew chief out of the equation and really turns it into a driver's race, if you will. I was just looking at the rest of the schedule coming up here. We got Pocono next week, Homestead, and Nashville, and that leads us into the Easter break. So, what do you say we go through the grid, Dave?
Absolutely, Tony. Starting in P1 on the inside of row 1 is your points leader, Bentley Glazer. On his outside is Jeff Hollingsworth. Jeff Schmeier starts on the inside of row number 2 with Carl Burke on his outside. Rob Gall starting in 5th with Dennis Fousson starting in 6th. Bob Beltrami on the inside of row 4, driving the number 14 Beltrami Salami Toyota, followed by Kyle McCartney in the number 19 Toyota. So if you're keeping score at home, Kyle McCartney now driving the number 19 Snap-on Toyota, starting on the outside.
His 5th number this season.
Ah, well, I hope that you've got a pencil there to make those edits. The inside of row 5, Andre E. Savala in the number 86 Chevrolet, followed by Christian Bishop on the outside of row 5 in the number 26 Chevrolet, Tony.
Paul Cromry and Wayne Hutchinson are going to roll off in row number 6. Row 7 gives us Earl Weaver and Brian Barnes. Charles Woods and Will Fletcher are going to roll off in row 8. Row 9 goes to David Weaver and Barry Phil, with Richard McClure and Julian Ricci rounding out your top 20.
Starting in 21st tonight is the 62 Chevrolet of Darrell Scott with Angelo Espo on his outside. Jeffrey Schloss and Fred Williams both have not gotten into their trucks yet. in 23rd and 24th. As I say that, Fred Williams does get in as well as Jeffrey Schloss. Wayne Fleet starting in 25th with Gary Johnson on his outside in the number 52 Chevrolet. James Campbell starting in 27th. Javier Perez Torres in the number 25 Chevrolet with Scott Kukas and Keith Kelman in 29th and 30th, respectively. Two drivers have not taken the field, and that is Troy Campbell and Sam Johnson. As
and I
we
don't
are
believe
rolling
either
off.
of them are here anymore. So 30 trucks scheduled to roll off here tonight. One fast repair in their pocket, 4 sets of tires to get them through all 107 laps here at the Chicagoland Speedway. The field starting to form behind the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing. You got the 2 OGR Racing teammates at the front of this piece. That's Glazer and Hollingsworth, as they also have their third teammate behind them in 4th place. That is Carl Burke in the 53. And Burke just so happens to be sponsored by the series sponsor, Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking. And I know you and I were discussing some of the recipes we were seeing on there prior to going on the air. But, oh, my God, every time I broadcast this league, it makes me hungry.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, it just never seems to fail that we find something new every week at Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking on YouTube.com. So feel free to go over there and check out their offerings. Tony,
here we
it's
go.
about that time.
Absolutely. As the pace truck peels on off, the only thing that's left to do is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point harness. Grandpa, buy me some popcorn, because race fans, it's showtime!
Bentley Glazer getting himself off to a pretty good lead here as we take off. And, I mean, that seems to be the story just about every week as we're watching this field come down the back stretch. And as we talked about earlier, that back stretch not straight, so it's definitely not the back straightaway by any stretch of the term. And Glazer with about 2/10. Yeah, see what I did? Bentley Glazer with about 2/10 of a second lead over Jeff Hollingsworth. And it seems like there's still double file here from 3rd all the way back through about 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. Schmeier and Burke were going hammer and tongs at it down the back chute that time. Right behind them is Dennis Husan and Rob Gall running door-to-door down the Brandt back chute here at Chicagoland Speedway, as they still have a pack of angry wolves right there. Nobody's given an inch yet, as Hollingsworth and Glazer starting to pull a little bit of a gap on that battle for 3rd with Burke, Schmeier, Fuson, and McCartney.
And Dennis Fuson in that number 11 Tito's Handmade Vodka machine manages to get himself nice and comfy out in front of Kyle McCartney. And Rob Gall now single file behind McCartney, as it appears that just behind Bob Beltrami, Christian Bishop looking to put the move on him, as he is looking low and then high and just trying to find himself a little bit of extra speed, as he is going to be on the outside of Bob Beltrami coming past the start-finish line on lap number 4 here at Chicagoland Speedway. And we keep looking around, and it just seems like everybody's getting ready to fall into single file.
Well, they're starting to. You got to go all the way back to the mid-pack around Richard McClure, Will Fletcher, and Julian Ricci before you see some more side-by-side action going on.
And these drivers starting to feel themselves out, finding their way here through this piece, as it looks like just about everybody on pace. So nobody really lagging back, even our last truck there, Keith Kelman in the 07 Toyota, keeping himself at least in the draft of Scott Kukas in the 85 Chevrolet, as it seems like we're just getting started here, which is absolutely accurate, on lap 5 of 107 at Chicagoland Speedway, Tony.
Glazer, Hollingsworth, Burke, Schmeier, Fuson, your top 5 right now, as Burke has reeled that group back into the lead duo that is Bentley Glazer and Jeff Hollingsworth. Normally those two guys running stem to stern is bad news for the rest of the field. Hollingsworth looks to the inside of Glazer as they haul it off into turn number 3.
And Hollingsworth easily gets by Glazer as Glazer takes the high side. Maybe he's sitting there in a little bit of tire-saving mode, as he is now going to come down in front of the double deuce of Jeff Schmeier in that Ford. And I'll tell you what, Now it looks like the 53 car of Carl Burke looking around Dennis Fuson in the number 11 Chevrolet, seeing if he can get himself around, as Hollingsworth has really taken himself quite a lead here going down the back stretch, as now the double deuce of Jeff Schmeier and that Reformation Brewery Ford takes second position away from Bentley Glazer as we come past the start-finish line.
Dennis Fuson works to the inside of Glazer as well down the front chute, as Fuson going to wrestle that spot away. And I dare say you were right. Glazer's got to be going into either fuel conservation or tire conservation, because normally once he gets the lead of a race, forget it. It's lights out from there. And here comes Carl Burke looking on the inside. Not going to make it happen there. A little bit of arrow push starting to rear its ugly head for some of these guys that have been following stem to stern so far. It's going to be interesting to see how badly that starts to get aggravated as the night wears on.
Absolutely. And Carl Burke in the number 53 Chevrolet getting a little high now, as Kyle McCartney's going to be on his inside, but he comes down right in front of McCartney to keep that position. He says, "Not so fast, my friend. I'm working on Bentley Glazer here in front of me. Let's do this one at a time," as it looks like McCartney's trying to get a 2-for-1 sale here at Chicago.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of 2-for-1s, you say we go with tonight's trivia question. What movie?
Man, I'm ready.
Okay, you already know the answer to this one. But what movie holds the record via Guinness Book of World Records for the most number of car crashes in a single movie?
And folks, if you're going to try to give us that answer, give us a shout in the live chat on YouTube here with ESPN. Look us up on YouTube, and feel free to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications and give us the answer for tonight's trivia question in the live chat. As it looks like Jeff Hollingsworth is now opening up about a quarter-second lead over Schmeier, and they're pretty well evened out, as Schmeier and Fuson, Bentley Glazer, and Carl Burke are just about a quarter, if not 3/10 of a second between one another. And it looks like Kyle McCartney now getting around Carl Burke, as now they are going to go hammer and tongs at one another through the front stretch and into turn one. Looks like McCartney is going to try to get the edge here into turn 1 and 2. And as he rolls out of turn 2, he doesn't have that spot completely secured, as it's going to allow Carl Burke to still look to the inside going into turn 3.
Burke had to check up, though, because that was a hell of a slide job. McCartney laid on him. That's going to let the 26 of Christian Bishop get to the back bumper of Burke. Bishop was looking on the outside, coming down the front chute, looks on the outside again, as Burke trying to use the whatever draft he can get off McCartney to maintain that top 6.
Absolutely, and we're taking a look right here at Christian Bishop on the inside of Carl Burke, as he is going to try to maybe put a little side draft on him. Yep, he gets right up close to him, and he's going to see if he can get himself dragged just past Carl Burke here, coming out of turn 4, and not enough to go. So it looks like he's going to fall in line and make another run at him in another couple of laps, as we have now completed 14 of 107 laps here in the Western States Racing League Round 11 at Chicagoland. And I say Round 11, but it's also season 46, Tony. I mean, 46 seasons together. I mean, you know, they do run 2 seasons a year, so one in the spring, one in the fall. And just an impressive amount of time that they have spent on the iRacing server. And then you said that they had come over from NASCAR also.
Oh, the NASCAR console games.
Yes.
Yeah, well, no, I take that back. The NASCAR PC games. So, like, NASCAR 03, I think, was the last major release on the PC out of the Papyrus stables. So, I mean, a lot of similar physics modeling between Papyrus and iRacing, being as that was the parent company. Is we've got a new leader. Jeff Schmeier just went around Jeff Hollingsworth on the high side.
And we will take a look at that move that he put on Hollingsworth right here in a moment, if I can get that replay up and running for us tonight.
iRacing, about the history of the league and how they started, and it was kind of interesting to talk to Bob about what got his fascination going with sim racing, and it kind of boils down to the same core games, because Bob and I are not that far off in age, but it's the like Days of Thunder for the old NES, pole position for the old Atari 2600, stuff like that kind of got your interest going, and then you found out, hey, I can race online, and jeepers, I mean, some of those phone bills back in the day when before we figured out, when I was going to college, that you could do LAN parties in the school computer labs.
Absolutely. And you talk about those phone bills. There was a story that Dale Earnhardt Jr. had talked about on the Dale Jr. download. And when he was living with his brother Kerry on Dale Sr.'s property, they were living in a trailer together. And I guess Dale Jr. had been on iRacing, or at that time Papyrus, and basically was making a long-distance phone call to Massachusetts to the server. And I guess their phone bill wound up being like $400. And Dale Jr. still insisted that Kerry pay half, and Kerry was like, "No, you ran that up. I can't imagine what that was like."
You're missing a zero on that one, bud.
4,000? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Either way, that's a really expensive phone bill.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to remember, this is, in the days of dial-up internet, before, DSL or even, cable modems were a thing.
Absolutely, and I mean,
just think about the lag we have today with gigabit connections. Think about how bad the lag was on an old 56K modem.
I can't.
And then somebody in the other room picks up the hard line to try to call out, and all of a sudden your connection just drops.
I can't even imagine. I definitely wasn't online. I mean, I was online during dial-up, but I wasn't gaming online. I was just a pup back when we had dial-up. We got cable modem when I was about 13, I want to say, when Comcast came out with HSI. As we're taking a look here, not to change the subject completely, but we are watching some racing tonight, and Christian Bishop and Carl Burke duking it out here side by side, coming back into the front stretch, as they have not been giving each other any space to try to pass, as Christian Bishop currently holding 6th position with Carl Burke in 7th. Bishop up 4 spots from where he had qualified, and it looks like Burke is going to get a little bit of a push from the 31 car of Rob Gall, as now it appears that Bishop has decided he's going to get the push from Gall going into the bottom line here, and it doesn't seem like there's a very big preferred line except to stay here toward the bottom, as he's going to use the apron to get a little bit of extra distance, but not enough to get around Bishop.
And you got to wonder, looking back towards the front of this field, did Jeff Hollingsworth burn his right front tire off already, as both Glazer and McCartney work around the high side of him?
Well, and Glazer, who had seeded that top spot earlier on here, now running back in 2nd position. He had dropped back, from what I understood, from what I remember, as far as 4th, and now is clawing his way back up into 2nd and chasing down Schmeier as if he owes him money. But don't take a breath too soon, because Kyle McCartney in the number 19 Snap-on Ford Toyota is now behind Glazer, giving him a little bit of a push here, as Glazer looks to the inside of Jeff Schmeier and makes the pass to regain the lead that he has worked so hard to keep. And now that puts Glazer in 1st, with Jeff Schmeier in P2, Kyle McCartney in 3rd, Jeff Hollingsworth in 4th, and Dennis Fousson in 5th. As Schmeier's not done yet, as he slides to the outside to try to get that run onto Glazer and maybe come up here onto that right rear fender and see if he can get a little bit of air to pull himself along.
Well, he just did the crossover there on the back chute, as now Schmeier with a head of steam going into 3. Glazer battles back tough on the high side, and they are still door to door coming across the stripe. McCartney throwing his hat into the ring. Good.
They were
grief.
all
Throw a
but 3
blanket over your
wide.
top 3.
I'll say this is quite a 3-way battle for the lead, as now McCartney working the inside of Bentley Glazer doing his very best here to try to get that run, but it looks like he can't secure it too easily yet, but I'm sure that he's not done yet as we take a look here at McCartney himself.
You know, you would think this is lap 106, not 26.
You know what, though? These guys have the trucks all dialed in. I mean, you know, it's a fixed setup league, and speaking of setups, if you do have a need for any setups, PremierRacingSetups.com. If you want to go check them out, they are a proud sponsor of ESPN, and I have to say, they have an incredible setup shop. Quite a menu of choices from oval to dirt road, dirt oval to road, and a whole stable full of builders. And those builders such as, you know, Richard Murtaugh and Bart Hector and Tyler Strelo have worked their tails off to build quite a setup shop. And if you're one of those guys or gals who, you know, you work 40 hours a week, you've got a couple of kids, you know, a wife or a husband, you don't always have time to build a setup, especially if you're in an open setup league. And PremierRacingSetups.com is definitely the place to go, and we are proud to be partnered with them. Now, speaking of those setups, tonight we are working on a fixed setup where everybody out here has the same setup. The chassis is twisted exactly the same way for each one of these cars. So, or trucks, that is. So we do have to remember that this is a skill race, not just, you know, strategy, as you had mentioned earlier on here tonight, but it's also about skill and being able to outrace the person in front or behind you.
Well, that's the thing, is it is going to come down to some strategy calls. As we've always seen out of Chicagoland, it's turned into a fuel mileage race before all is said and done. And the fact that these guys only have 4 sets of tires to get through 107 laps with, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work out, especially looking at the tire fall off. You know, we're only 30 laps in, and you're already looking a second and a half, almost 2 full seconds. You know, that's big. So, tire strategy and when to make your pit stops and who's going to go with you, and this is going to be as important here as it would be at, say, a plate track like Daytona or Talladega.
Absolutely. And looking back a little bit deeper in the field, Brian Barnes in the number 4 NASCAR Hall of Fame Chevrolet is leading just in front of Paul Crumry in the number 15 Dr. Pepper Chevrolet. And I'll tell you what, that Toyota Brian Barnes is dialed in yet again tonight as he is climbing himself back up, as he's up 3 positions from where he started, currently running in 11th. Chasing down Andre E. Savala in the number 86. Carl Burke running in 9th. Bob Beltrami in 8th. Rob Gall in 7th. Christian Bishop, Dennis Fuson, and Jeff Schmeier in 4th, with your top 3 being Bentley Glazer, Jeff Hollingsworth, and Kyle McCartney, as it looks like Bentley Glazer is still trying desperately to hold off McCartney, but it looks like McCartney might finally have him here coming into turns 3 and 4.
All right, job coming off of 4. That's going to cause Glazer to go down to the apron. All-important bonus point for McCartney that time, as they're about 7 truck lengths now to the good over 3rd place, Jeff Hollingsworth, who has gotten by Jeff Schmeier. Schmeier, another one of those ones we were talking about that may have burned his stuff up too early. Might be just letting it kind of ride right now, cooling that right front off, not pushing quite as hard as he could. But he's going to have to get it sorted out pretty quick because he's got a very hungry Dennis Fuson and Christian Bishop right there on his tailgate.
Absolutely. And taking just a look back here at the slide job between Bentley Glazer and Kyle McCartney, you see Bentley Glazer up on the high side, coming down below McCartney as he is going to slide right around him onto the apron and crosses the start-finish line as he is trying to secure that position here on the replay. And we now have 34 of 107 laps completed at Chicagoland Speedway in the Western States Racing League. I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso here in the ESPN broadcast booth. And Tony, it looks like we do have somebody trying to take a guess here at your trivia question. Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking is taking a guess at Talladega Nights.
Absolutely incorrect.
Well, outdoor cast iron cooking, see if you can come up with another answer there. Or anybody else tuning in right now on YouTube, feel free to give us a guess here.
And green flight pit stop starting to take place.
As Bentley Glazer is coming down pit road, he's going to get himself all settled in here. Not really any adjustments you can make in a fixed setup race. So I'm betting on 4 tires and a tank of Go Fast.
That's about all you can do at this point. But for those of you who missed what the trivia question was, what movie holds the world record for most number of car crashes in a single motion picture film?
And we see Paul Crumry getting off of pit road as he has come down for service. Kyle McCartney still out there leading this piece, as it appears he's going to try to stay out a little bit longer here. Has not come into pit, but also Jeff Schmeier now in the double deuce coming down pit road for his service, along with Andre Isavala and Fred Williams in the number 95 Chevrolet just entering here. And we also
Hollingsworth
see
and Burke just peel off. Yep, they just peeled off to come pit side. And Schmeier out of the pits. There goes Glazer flashing by. It's going to be fun to see what this next lap time is going to be for Glazer, as this is going to be his first flyer after coming out of the pits. Last time McCartney was by was a 32.48 to Glazer's. Comes across the stripe now with a 31.2. And that was dealing with cars coming out of pit road as well. So you got to think these guys that are going to be staying out, they're praying for a caution is what they're doing to catch everybody else a lap down, because right now we've only got about 20 trucks left on the lead lap. James Campbell in the 18 is being scored as the last one on that lead lap.
Absolutely, and Rob Gall and Bob Beltrami coming down pit road now, as that camera angle is all kinds of screwy. And that leaves just about 7 cars, 8, 9, and a few others out who still haven't come down pit road for service.
And just checking in with our good friends at Cast Iron Cooking, Talladega Nights, not correct. Days of Thunder, definitely not correct, because they only wrecked about 20 cars in that one. And Most Amazing Wife says Fast and Furious. No, surprisingly.
Maybe it's time to give him a hint this time, Tony.
Okay. What track are we at?
Chicagoland.
There's your hint. Where is this track located? That's the only hints I'm giving. So.
And speaking of a hint, it looks like Kyle McCartney, Christian Bishop, and Dennis Fuson took the hint and decided it was time to come down pit road, as your top 3 are now coming down, and they have gotten themselves pretty far here with looks like about 41 laps on this set of tires and this tank of fuel, as your race leader Kyle McCartney is going to be replaced by Darrell Scott, who still hasn't come down, but he will stay out to lead a lap in the number 62 Chevrolet, followed by Wayne Fleet in second position now, with Keith Kelman, Gary Johnson, James Campbell being the only 4 cars out on the track that have not come down for service, as I'm sure that we're about to watch those numbers light on up, as it sounds like the 62 is about to come down pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. That fleet of Canadians probably going to be going together. Scott, Fleet, Kelman, as the 52 of Johnson peels off. So effective race lead, by quite a margin, is going to be Bentley Glazer, almost 2 seconds to the good over his teammate Jeff Hollingsworth. And then it starts to tighten up a little bit behind him. You got to go all the way back to Bob Beltrami, as he is slugging it out with Christian Bishop's 26 right now.
Absolutely, and Bentley Glazer is going to cycle himself back up to the lead here in just a moment, as Darrell Scott has now come down pit road, leaving just James Campbell, Keith Kelman, and Wayne Fleet atop the leaderboard. And right now it looks like Bentley Glazer, once we cycle all the way back up, will have just under a 2-second lead over Jeff Hollingsworth, who's currently running in 5th. But once this cycles through, we will see him cycle into 2nd position, as now the 18 car of James Campbell getting ready to come down pit road as he takes the apron and gets ready to go get some service.
Kelman goes with him as well. That's going to leave Wayne Fleet as the lone stranger who's never been down pit road yet.
Wayne Fleet, now they have come together. Not a caution, but we will get a chance to take a look at that. I just happened to switch over to that view.
Oi.
And we are working on pulling this up for you, as that was quite a point of contact, as iRacing did not throw out the caution, which is rather interesting for a situation like this.
Duke is catching a piece of that one. Charles Woods catching a piece of that one. Looks like Wayne Hutchinson caught a piece of it.
And we see the number 40 United States Postal Service Chevrolet here coming up on the track to avoid the number 6 car. And instead the 6, it almost looked, and I just saw it. So rather interesting here. Kind of a development as Wayne Fleet here. It looked like he either hit a bump or something decided that he was going to be bumped. So we'll take a quick peek at it.
Oh yeah, that was netcode.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he was coming up anyway, and he was about to come into the 40, but definitely some netcode got him all turned around and scrambled those cars up, just like Saturday morning breakfast.
Absolutely.
And as previously mentioned, Bentley Glazer, now your race leader with about 0.8 of a second, nearly a full second over Jeff Hollingsworth, with Jeff Schmeier in the double deuce running in 3rd, Kyle McCartney in 4th. Christian Bishop rounds out your top 5, and he's being chased down by Bob Beltrami in the number 14 Beltrami Salami Toyota. And it seems like right now that the 19 car of Kyle McCartney is trying to hold off Christian Bishop, who on these fresh tires, and we have a caution. Taking a look back here, and we'll see what exactly just transpired here. As we see Jeffrey Schloss in the 023 just self-spins, gets himself loose, probably on a little bit of cold tires as he came down on lap 45.
Yeah, but as sideways as that truck was just before the entrance to pit road, that's why that caution came out, because he was completely perpendicular to the lane of travel.
Without a doubt. So we have a caution here at lap number 50, and we are going to step aside and give a chance here for our good friends over at PremierRacingSetups.com to let you know about their offerings. Welcome back to Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Dave Riegel in the ESPN broadcast booth alongside my good friend and partner in crime, Tony Trapasso. And if you are just tuning in on YouTube, feel free to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications to ESPN so you can get a notification every time that we are live. And speaking of going live, there is 6 days of racing this week, all but 7, as it seems like there's really no space to move here, as we are the nightcap here at 10:15 on the Western States Racing League. Wednesdays at 9:10, the Ghost Cup Series goes live, as well as also at 9 o'clock, the Way She Goes Racing League, a new league here on iRacing.com. And if you like hanging out with Tony and I here in the booth tonight, you'll really like hanging out with us on a Wednesday night. Excuse me. Thursday is USRA at 7 p.m. And then Friday we have a doubleheader with the Kool-Aid Monster Next Gen Cup Series and the iRacing East Series at 8:30. Saturdays we do take a breather this week. Last week we had a special race on Saturday night. Sunday is wall-to-wall racing with a quadruple header. The IFL starts at 3:30 p.m., then ISNF is at 5:30 p.m., followed by the Fired Up Esports League at 7:30 p.m., and then your nightcap is in prime time, the Davis Brothers Roofing SNN Cup Series at 8:30 p.m. So all kinds of offerings here for you on ESPN. And Tony, have you had anybody update you yet on your trivia question tonight?
Oh, let's take a look. Tonight's trivia question, if you are just joining us, what movie holds the record, Guinness Book of World Records record, for most number of car crashes in a single motion picture film? And the only hints we were giving are, where are we racing tonight?
Just remember, we are in Joliet, Illinois.
There you go. But we've been looking for an answer, and the answer to that is the Blues Brothers. Think about how many cop cars got wadded during that film.
Absolutely a wonderful film, too. And I'll tell you what, I mean, you know, I personally like watching TCM, so I'm waiting for the day when Ben Mankiewicz is introducing that on TCM and gets to call it a film, because that is absolutely apropos in that particular situation, as the pace car lights are off. That Chevrolet Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing.com, has his lights off as he leads the field down the back stretch here, which means that this time we will be going back green at Chicagoland Speedway.
And I have the perfect triple header for that movie to be aired with.
Go ahead.
Blues Brothers, Animal House, and 1942.
So Animal House was a movie that my dad and I first watched together, because, you know, I should always probably be adult supervised when watching movies like that.
Yeah.
And all I can think of is 7 years of college down the drain.
Exactly.
And that pace truck getting ready to dive down pit road with Kyle McCartney, your leader, with Christian Bishop on his outside. The man in the stand has the green flag in his hand, and we are racing under green flag conditions again at Chicagoland Speedway. As it appears, Kyle McCartney trying to get himself settled in up here at the front of this piece, as his lead is being chopped down ever so quickly by Christian Bishop in the number 26 car, followed by Bal Beltrami, who had laid himself down quite a qualifying effort now in that Beltrami Salami number 14 Toyota, as Kyle McCartney in his number 19 Snap-on machine holding off Bishop the best that he can, but it looks like Bishop is going to get the best of him.
Yeah, absolutely. In case you're wondering what happened to Glazer, Hollingsworth, and Schmeier, they all decided to go down to pit road on lap 50 to get another set of fresh shoes, as Bishop and McCartney still going at it like cats and dogs as they haul it off into turn number 3. Beltrami's got to be looking at this in front of him going, go ahead, guys. Just wreck each other, and I'm just going to drive right on through.
Absolutely. And speaking of Bentley Glazer, currently running in 7th position, down from, you know, up front where he was, now working, the inside there of the number 86 Sunoco race, the number, it says 84 of Richard McClure.
That's who that is.
In that Sunoco race truck. And now he gets around McClure But just behind McClure is Jeff Schmeier in that Double Deuce Reformation Brewery. It looks like McClure just bought himself a piece of that wall, thought he'd take it home for a souvenir, but it looks like he's going to stay tucked up there and keep us under green.
Yeah, not sure exactly what just transpired there. That truck just, it never even tried to turn. Everybody doing an amazing job to get by him, though. Wow, that was a shot.
I'll say it was. And we talked a little bit earlier about this particular track not being on the regular NASCAR schedule anymore, as we're looking at Kyle McCartney looking to the inside of the number 26 NASA Chevrolet of Christian Bishop, as McCartney says he wants that lead back and he's not going to be put to bed early over it, especially as we've got 58 laps of 107 complete. We had talked earlier about Chicagoland not being on the regular NASCAR schedule, and it was actually September 27th, 2020 when the rumors had started to surface. And it was just a couple of days later when NASCAR had released the schedule for 2021 that had taken Chicagoland off of the NASCAR schedule, as well as Kentucky. So kind of sad not to see racing here at Chicago, as it's one heck of a track to be at, as we have a four-way battle now here at the front of this piece between Christian Bishop, Kyle McCartney, Bob Beltrami, and the number 11 Tito's Handmade Vodka Toyota, driven by Dennis Fusan.
Yeah, absolutely. And all four of those guys have gained position since the green flag has come out. Bishop's up 9, McCartney's up 6, Beltrami's up 4, Fusan's up 2. But they've got to get this sorted out quickly, because reeling them in hand over fist is the 97 and the 87, respectively, as they're working their way around Rob Gall right now to try to get up into this battle for the supremacy.
Absolutely. And here on lap 61, we are going to step to the side and let you folks at home turn it up and enjoy the sounds of this wonderful race here at Chicagoland Speedway in the Western States Racing League, Round 11 on ESPN. Fans, we hope that you enjoyed that Turn It Up segment as you got to see right from the rear gearbox of Kyle McCartney, Jeff Schmeier in the Double Deuce Reformation Brewery Ford make the move around McCartney, as now it appears he is going to keep that lead over him by about 0.2 of a second. But they've got a lot of work to do to catch up to your race leader, Jeff Hollingsworth. And in order, it is Hollingsworth, Schmeier, McCartney, Glazer, Crumry, your top five, followed by Brian Barnes, Christian Bishop, Carl Burke, William Fletcher, and Dennis Fuson to round out your top 10. And there is not a whole lot of breathing room here in this middle pack, as it looks like Christian Bishop is doing his very best to hold off Carl Burke in the number 53, Tony.
He's doing what he can, but I think it's just a matter of time. He went way hard early on in that tire run, and I think he burned his stuff up too soon. And just as I say that, Bentley Glazer works his way around Kyle McCartney, so there might be another one that may have gone a little too hard, a little too soon in McCartney, as Fuson's going to bring it pit side in the 11 to what should be his money stop.
Absolutely, and when you say money stop, we are looking at the ticker here at the top of your screen, folks, as we have now completed 72 of 107 laps in the Western States Racing League round 11 at Chicagoland, and we talk about it every week, and this is round 11, but it's actually season 46 of the Western States Racing League. These drivers have put together yet another amazing race here on ESPN, and I am glad to be sitting alongside my good buddy Tony Trapasso. If you're watching us on YouTube, feel free to subscribe. Woof! Suddenly I couldn't talk. Feel free to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications and give us a shout out here in the race chat. Tell us who you're pulling for and who you're hoping to see win atop this competition tonight, as Jeff Hollingsworth in the number 97 Coast Guard Chevrolet leading the way with next to no problem, as he has about a second lead over Schmeier now.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you haven't done so already, hit that thumbs up button, and it really helps share this video with the masses on YouTube. It really helps with the algorithm. And if you don't like what you're seeing, go ahead and smash that dislike button twice to make sure you got it.
Absolutely. And I can't imagine anybody not wanting to hang out with the two of us. I mean, to be fair, it's nice to be part of the cool kids table.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that just have no class.
Yeah, and two of them are sitting right here with microphones.
Yeah, and at least one of them's got a finger up their nose.
We'll leave you folks there at home guess which one of us it is. Stay tuned, as the number 4 NASCAR Hall of Fame Toyota of Brian Barnes is chasing down Paul Crumry in the number 15 Dr. Pepper machine. Almost like he owes him money, or at least he's a little thirsty and trying to get a sip of Dr. Pepper, as he has been closing in on him over the last 3 laps here. And it seems like he's not willing to give up, especially as we're getting ready to come in for that money stop in the next couple of laps, as Bob Beltrami and Richard McClure are down pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to wonder who's going to be the first one of our top 5 to blink. He's got Hollingsworth, Schmeier, Glazer, McCartney, and Barnes all up there. Beltrami brings it pit side. Looks like 4 and fuel for everybody that's coming down pit road so far.
And it seems like it appears, at least, that Brian Barnes is working his way around Paul Crumry, as he has had the patience to not come off his line and stay down low on Crumry, as Crumry is staying up high, of course, to give enough room to Brian Barnes, as Brian Barnes now backs off a little bit and allows Crumry back in front of him.
And I don't think we mentioned this last time we saw Paul with us, but congratulations to his daughter Brittany. I believe she finished on the podium, and I'm not exactly sure which position she was able to garner at the Minnesota State High School Gymnastics Championships all around. So one of the best gymnasts in the state, and Paul's got to be very proud of his daughter right there.
Absolutely. It's always a good day when you can celebrate with your children, as, you know, you sit there and you try to shuttle them from practice to game to practice to game, and, you know, all of the late nights and the long drives pay off when you can see, you know, your little girl there on the podium as the number 19 car gets ready to come down pit road for his service. So
well, there's our answer.
Looks like he was definitely the first one to blink.
Absolutely. And we saw the undercut work very well for, guys like Bentley Glazer and Jeff Hollingsworth the last time. So it's going to be interesting to see where this is going to shake out, with McCartney going down here. But, what type of gap is he going to be able to pull on the guys that have already come into pit and have already gone a lap down?
And now it looks like Crumry and Carl Burke are both going to come down pit road here side by side, with Crumry here on the right side of your screen. And looks like they're going to come in for the money stop, but that allows Brian Barnes to get himself all the way up into fourth position, up 10 from where he had started this evening. So Brian Barnes still staying out, hasn't been in since lap number 50. I got to be honest with you, though. I thought Christian Bishop, who's now coming down pit road, would have been the first one to come in, as he hasn't been in for pit service since lap number 41.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was part of the strategy of Hollingsworth, Glazer, Schmeier, Barnes, and Fletcher. They all came down on lap 50 under that caution and, got their second set of tires. And here we go. Glazer, Hollingsworth, and Schmeier all coming in now. Barnes is going to stay out. Fletcher's going to stay out. So all important bonus point for Barnes. As it is money stop time. Definitely money stop time here.
I'll say it is, as Brian Barnes and William Fletcher going to be running in first and second position right now, up 13 and 14 from where they began this race, as Brian Barnes turning those laps the absolute best that he can, but his speed is dropping, and so is he down to the apron to come in for pit service, and that will leave William Fletcher as your current race leader. As he crosses the start-finish line, I would be willing to bet dollars to donuts, as Grandpa Evans would say, that he's going to be coming down for pit service probably in the next lap or two.
Yeah, absolutely. As to answer our question about where this is going to shake Kyle McCartney out, he just unlapped himself the hard way.
And I have to tell you, this is an update from Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking in the YouTube chat. Get ready for it. Just buckle in. It's coming.
Yes!
Beltrami Salami Pizza webisode in the works. Stay tuned.
Oh, hell yes.
So things might be getting interesting out on the track, but for a pair of large chassised individuals like myself and Tony, that's the exciting thing for us tonight, as we look forward to Beltrami Salami Pizza on Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking. And my night's made. I'm good. I can go happily.
Just make sure you send some over here to the right coast.
I got you. Listen, we'll go out, we'll drive, we'll get it, we'll bring it back. It'll be great. We'll laugh, we'll dance, we'll carry on.
No, I got a better one. You're going to come up here and we're going for garbage plates.
I mean, anything that says garbage plate just sounds exciting to me.
Wait till you try one.
Fair enough. You, sir, have challenged me, and the challenge is accepted. As we are 22 laps to go here. Speaking of challenges, looks like Bentley Glazer back out on track, leading Rob Gall in the number 31 car, as Kyle McCartney sits atop the pile here, leading Dennis Fuson in the number 11 Tito's Handmade Vodka Chevrolet, as this Toyota and Chevy are going to be going at it here into the front stretch, crossing the start-finish line. Yet one more time, bringing us to 21 laps to go. So things are definitely going to get a lot tighter here as we finish up. And I have to say, Everybody's got their tires. It looks like the entire field came in except for James Campbell and Wayne Hutchison, who have come in on lap 65, 65, I'm sorry, 65 and 42, but they are not currently turning any laps right now.
The only one that hasn't come down pit road lately is Scott Kukas in the 85. He was last down on lap 43.
At this point, I can only imagine, and let me see if I can pull him up here. At this point, I can only imagine that he is holding on for dear life onto the steering wheel. Of course, as I say that, makes a complete fool out of me. There it is, bouncing through turn 1 and 2 as he's holding that wheel as steady as he can. And onto the backstretch.
Absolutely.
Maybe when they call it the backstretch, they should just call it, I don't know, scoliosis. It's kind of curvy. See what I did there?
So you can get your hate mail coming now, folks. That's Mr. Dave Regal, ESBN Towers, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, P.O. Box OICU 812.
I mean, look, if you like terrible dad jokes, I'm here for it. I'm well-trained. I've learned from the absolute best. And not ashamed of it whatsoever, as Kyle McCartney has himself a now 2.second even gap over Bentley Glazer. And Glazer trying to hold off Hollingsworth, who is now in his rearview mirror and getting ready to try to set himself up to make that move around Glazer, as it looks like he is now going to lay in wait for that perfect moment, as we are now 17 laps to go at Chicagoland Speedway.
Something happened to Jeff. Schmeier caught the wall. I was going to say something was happening to the 22 as he dropped 2 spots to Carmery and Barnes, and the right side of that truck is completely cheese grated.
Definitely not characteristic of Schmeier, as Hollingsworth does get around Glazer, as it sounds like he was trying to get around him for quite a while, and Glazer just said, hey, listen, man, go ahead. And it looks like he's going to let Hollingsworth try to burn off some more of that grip there on his own tires, and maybe that can be beneficial here in the long run with 16 laps to go.
Well, we're about to find out, because, I mean, they can see Kyle McCartney from where they are. He's a couple trucks separated from him, but they can still see him, and that's the all-important piece. Because if you can see it, chances are you can catch it.
Absolutely, and riding here on the rear bumper of Jeff Hollingsworth, looking back at Bentley Glazer. Glazer taking the low line, but Hollingsworth riding the high side. So Hollingsworth may be trying to save a little bit of tire here, but Glazer always a big competitor here. And, of course, we talk about his competitive prowess. And Bentley Glazer does sit atop the Western States Racing League point standings. And I'll tell you what, it looks like just about everybody through the top 10 tonight in tonight's race is also in the top 10 in those point standings. So things definitely starting to tighten up in the point standings, even if somebody like your race leader is still 3/4 of a second ahead of Jeff Hollingsworth back in P2. And McCartney being able to work his way past Wayne Fleet, the lap car, in the number 6 car, as it looks like Fleet still wants to try to keep himself as close as he can and hopefully not lose that lap in such a fashion.
Well, he's trying not to. He
Well,
wants to be,
trying's what counts.
at least he wants to be the lucky dog if anything goes wrong.
I'm not even going to say what I'm thinking. I'm not. I'm just going to leave it go. When you talk about it, just in case, listen. Everybody can now send their hate mail to you, sir. You just had well, unless you're immune to that curse.
I am.
All right, fair enough.
As Hollingsworth wastes absolutely no time dispatching a Fleet, and now sets his sights on trying to reel in McCartney, as we are going to be 11 to go next time across the stripe.
Taking a look here from the rear of Hollingsworth ahead to Kyle McCartney. He is slowly but surely starting to close in as McCartney started out with a 2-second lead. It is now evaporated, where he is only 0.2 of a second ahead of Jeff Hollingsworth in the number 97 Coast Guard Chevrolet. Is now Hollingsworth still working that outside line, thinks that he's got a chance here to reel in Kyle McCartney.
Oh, it all depends on how hard McCartney went during that first part of that run. Hollingsworth and Glazer were both in the 30-second range for lap times. McCartney didn't really dip below 31s. So I don't know how hard he was going, but Hollingsworth all over his tailgate right now as we are 10 to go.
10 to go here at Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Dave Regal alongside Tony Trapasso in the ESPN broadcast booth. We are glad to be bringing you this race tonight. And if you are watching on YouTube, we continue to encourage you to subscribe and turn on those bell notifications and join our good friends over at Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking, who have promised that there's a webisode in the works for Beltrami Salami Pizza. And I have to say, I am going to be probably as close to the front of that line as I can be. So feel free to go over there to Outdoor Cast Iron Cooking on YouTube and see their offerings. They always have something delicious available. And one other thing that we do want to talk about is our good friends over at PremierRacingSetups.com. And they have an entire stable of setup builders and even a small paint booth that you can get yourself a few base paints if designing cars and things on iRacing is your thing. So we encourage you to encourage the people and support the people who support the things you love. And obviously, if you're here, the thing that you love is watching racing on ESPN with Tony and Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave's not here, man.
No, Dave checked out, man. And if you do like hanging out with us on a Tuesday night for Western States Racing League, you'll really like hanging out with us tomorrow night, as we will be working the Way She Goes Racing League, which is based out of Denver, Colorado. And Kevin Kitzman and Natalie Cunningham, quite a power couple, as they have assembled one heck of a league over there at Way She Goes Racing. Very competitive, also a fixed setup league like the Western States Racing League. And we very much encourage you to come along with us tomorrow night at 9 o'clock as we bring you that action, as they will be at Atlanta.
Yes. Which iRacing has announced that they're not going to release what they scanned already of Atlanta, being as Atlanta has to get repaved again.
Well, it's been interesting there at Atlanta. I mean, quite a busy weekend in the Peach State, the Empire State of the South. And I have to say, watching the races this past weekend, especially in the next-gen cars, was amazing. You know, as far as if you think about the way that Atlanta used to be, things have definitely changed substantially. And we take a look now at Paul Crumry and Dennis Fousson, who were going at it earlier, and they are back with it. They brought out the hammer and tongs, and it looks like Paul Crumry is setting himself up to try to eventually get around Dennis Fousson as they run in 6th and 7th. And folks, a quick check-in as we are 4 laps to go. Jeff Hollingsworth, Bentley Glazer, Kyle McCartney, and Christian Bishop, your top 4, as these drivers are working to bring it home, as Kyle McCartney works around the number 84 Sunoco Chevrolet of Richard McClure. And I do find myself wanting to say McClure. Can I say it that way? Like he's French? McClure? I like it.
How drunk are you right now?
I'm not. Stone cold soda, bottle of water, not beer.
Okay. Well then. 3 laps to go. Hollingsworth shows the way. Glazer sitting comfortably in second. McCartney doing everything he can to try to figure out, and we're under caution. We're going into overtime.
As it looks like James Campbell has gotten himself wrapped up into a little bit of a mess back here. We'll take a look back and see if we can't find out exactly what happened, as it looks like he came through the infield. Nope, he got it all wrong coming off a pit road. And right now, just trying to... There we go. Let's see him take off from pit road.
No, it wasn't him.
That's interesting.
All right, then. What brought
There
out the
he is.
caution?
Well, it says James Campbell crashed. What it says. Can't argue it.
I can argue, but that's not going to do me any good.
Absolutely not, but that will definitely change things as it tightens the field up pretty substantially, as there was quite a distance between Hollingsworth and Glazer. What in the world?
McCartney just went down pit road.
Well, this is an interesting decision here, as I can't imagine why McCartney would want to come down pit road in this situation, but of course, he's the one driving the truck and we're the ones watching him do it, so maybe he knows something that we don't.
Hey, he's got almost a 3,000 I rating. I don't, so...
Oh, yeah, never mind.
I just know how to set the trucks up. Don't ask me to drive one.
Well, for those of us that run in the 1300 splits, I have no idea what he's doing, because that's definitely some big boy stuff that he's doing.
Yeah, that's some... Well, screw it. Here, we're just going to put these up on the dash and let them hang.
I agree, and that will make your race leader, Jeff Hollingsworth, in the number 97 Coast Guard Chevrolet, followed by Bentley Glazer in the number 87 Gatorade Chevrolet, with Brian Barnes in the number 4 NASCAR Hall of Fame machine, followed by Dennis Fuson, Paul Crumrye, Jeff Schmeier, Carl Burke, William Fletcher, Andre E. Savala, and Angelo Espo in the number 136 Chevrolet. So things definitely have changed here in the closing laps, as we should be green-white checker once we do go back green. Tony, do you want to explain the... There we go. Do you want to explain the green-white checker rules?
Sure, absolutely. We're going into overtime, folks, and basically what that means is the green flag is going to come out after they get the field all sorted. Once the green flag comes out, the leader has to come back around and pass the start-finish line to accept the white flag before all hell breaks loose. If they manage to do that, we're racing back to the checkers. If they don't get to the start-finish line, we're going to rack them, stack them, and try it again. But taking a look at who did come down pit road there, of our lead lap trucks, McCartney, Bishop, Gall, Beltrami, and Earl Weaver.
Definitely an interesting decision, and I'd really like to find out what exactly they're thinking about, as these tires truly aren't that old, but obviously they had some in their pocket, but they're only going to have a few laps to make it from as far back as 11th, where Kyle McCartney is right now, as Jeff Hollingsworth last came in at lap 82, so the tire's definitely worn, but there's a lot of traffic between 11th and P1.
Yeah, there is, but if anybody can do it, I mean, we've seen Beltrami weave his way through traffic before. We've seen Rob Gall do it before. Christian Bishop, it's kind of hard to bet against him with his last couple of races he's been with us. So.
And Schmeier's probably a little tired, as Beth Mills said that her and Jeff Schmeier went to the doubleheader in Atlanta on Saturday, so they definitely had a long day on Saturday. I guess they needed Sunday and Monday to recuperate before we came here tonight to Chicagoland. So,
speaking of doubleheaders, are you as excited for this week as I am?
I am.
Being as they finally have laid the clay down at Bristol.
Listen, Bristol dirt is the way that racing should be at Bristol. It changes things. I have a good friend, Darryl Geisler, who lives on the Virginia side of Bristol, not the Tennessee side. It's such a weird thing. But anyway, and he actually likes to watch when the haulers are coming in, and, you know, he can see those triaxles bringing in all of the dirt as everything is laid out and getting set. And speaking of getting set, that iRacing.com Chevrolet Silverado has its lights off here, as he is going to control the field, coming back around, prepping himself to get back to pit road as he's going to dive off. Jeff Hollingsworth has his hand on the gear shift as that green flag is about to wave wildly here as we are in NASCAR overtime at Chicagoland Speedway in the Western States Racing League as Jeff Hollingsworth runs himself out to about a 0.3 of a second lead over Glazer. But I have to say, that gap is sometimes enough for a driver like Glazer to get himself a good draft and suck right up and then past him. So probably a dangerous move right now if you're Jeff Hollingsworth.
Well, the battle that's hot and heavy is that one for the final step of the podium between Brian Barnes and Dennis Fousson, as Fousson had a great run down the back chute. Barnes, though, able to hold him off on the high side. Fousson going to battle back and try that low lane again as Barnes using that second lane on the older tires for momentum. Don't look now. Here comes Kyle McCartney.
Not only that, but the 26 car of Christian Bishop has pushed McCartney into a 3-wide situation with Fousson and the 15 of Paul Crumry. And now Fousson getting shuffled back in this pile as Jeff Hollingsworth trying to hold off Bentley Glazer. And that is your winner here at Chicagoland Speedway as Jeff Hollingsworth takes the checkered flag here for the Western States Racing League, getting those congratulatory pass-bys and calls on the radio. So fantastic race tonight, Tony.
Absolutely. Glazer hanging on for second. McCartney coming all the way back from after restarting in 10th, comes home on the final step of the podium in third.
Definitely an impressive race tonight as it looks like maybe coming down on lap 106 for Beltrami wasn't as beneficial as it was for McCartney and Bishop. So we will definitely get a chance, hopefully, to talk to Kyle McCartney, Bentley Glazer, and Jeff Hollingsworth, your race winner, as they should be getting ready to come down into the waiting room. We see Jeff Hollingsworth getting ready. Oh, and gets a noseful of Brian Barnes. Hopefully that was congratulatory, but that definitely scraps the burnout.
Yeah, no, that was congratulatory. But what do you say we take a quick break, pay some bills, and hear from our good friends over at Premier Racing Setups?
You're good.
No, aren't you glad I didn't say that on the air?
Absolutely. And we are back at Chicagoland Speedway, Dave Regal and Tony Trapasso, and getting ready to try to get a hold of Jeff Hollingsworth here. Jeff Hollingsworth, Dave Regal up in the broadcast booth. You got a copy, brother?
I'm here, man. I'm here.
Hey, man, listen, fantastic run tonight. Looked like you were going to have to fight off Kyle McCartney had you had about one extra lap, so staying out was definitely beneficial to you.
Yeah, he had a set of tires. We stayed out because we didn't have any tires left, so we just had to do what we did. But if he wouldn't have been so far back after that pit, you know, he would have been up there because, man, he was flying.
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, you started on the front row, finished at the front of the front row, and you really just commanded this race, you know, even after dropping back a little bit and giving yourself some room. So, you know, what do you attribute that to tonight?
I've got a really good record at Chicago, and my steering settings here, I go as wide as I can go at a 16-1, and it seems to help with the tire wear. I don't know, I'm pretty decent here. Bentley's really great here. Kyle, Brian, Paul, Rob, all those guys. Jeff Smyer, he was up there. I mean, it's usually a good battle here. I'm just feel fortunate that when the caution flew that I had enough there to get it done at the end.
Absolutely, and it's always nice when you can get that first win of the season at a track that you like so much. Do you have anybody you'd like to give a shout out to?
Yeah, I'm going to shout out to my teammates, Bentley, of course, and Paul, who had a really good run tonight. He figured out some steering wheel settings for him, and it's working out. Charlie didn't have such good luck. Rest of the guys on old guys rule. Thank Bob always for hosting this league for us. We have a lot of fun here. A lot of guys we get along really well. Have really good racing, and congrats to Kyle on the podium and Bentley on the second place. And you guys for broadcasting. Appreciate you, Dave. And Pat. I see Pat in here.
Semper Paratus, my friend. Semper Paratus.
Love you, brother.
Hey, listen, Jeff, we appreciate you. We'll get you cut loose here as we are going to try to get a hold of Bentley Glazer. And
I believe we got Bentley joining us now. Bentley Glazer, all things considered, can't be too disappointed with a podium here tonight.
Definitely. That was a great race. In Chicagoland, I always burn my tires up. So, and I always finish behind Jeff. Seems like he's really good at Chicagoland. So, yeah, happy with second for sure. And it was great racing with Kyle at the beginning of the race. And yeah, very, very happy.
Oh, we were just noticing that another couple of laps, you guys would have been in trouble. If that hadn't stayed green on that overtime finish, you guys would have both been in trouble because he was coming a ton.
Oh, for sure. Like if he had one more lap, we would have been done for. And yeah, if that caution came for the white flag and he was closer, we were definitely done then. So, luck plays out. He was really good. After when we raced there at the beginning, he was really good, and then I just got tight behind him. And Jeff's always way faster than me, like in 3 and 4 especially here. So, yeah, I can't complain.
Well, next week we go to a track that you've had some success in the past. As we go to the Long Pond, Pennsylvania area of the state, or Great Commonwealth, I believe is what you guys call it, right, Dave?
yes, it is a Commonwealth, and you'll be up there in the Pocono Mountains, beautiful area. And Tony says that you have had some success there.
Yeah, I'd do all right there, but there's a lot of good guys here. Bob, Kyle, Jeff, they're gonna be strong always, both Jeffs. And yeah, Pocono, I'm pretty good, and just like all the races when there's a lot of good drivers that can win it, it just takes a little luck.
Yeah, absolutely. But, Bentley, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate with your team tonight?
All my teammates at OGR, and you guys as always, and Bob for putting on Western States Racing League. And that's all.
All right, Bentley Glazer, congratulations for extending your points lead. We'll see you next week at Pocono.
Yep, take care.
And joining us now, the man who just ran out of time, had the set of tires, just didn't have enough time to use them all. Kyle McCartney, talk us through it.
Yeah, man, I wish we had one more lap. I would have had him for sure. It's either that or if I would have just started probably one row closer. I mean, I had the best start I could possibly, and I pretty much was almost flat out on the bottom. So, yeah, it was a good run. I figured, with that last caution, if I stayed out, I was probably going to finish third because I had a little bit older tires. And so I thought, well, let's take a gamble and hopefully make it a little exciting for the fans to watch.
Well, that you definitely did. You were climbing through the field pretty quick there. Just like you said, another lap, you would have had it. But, talk us through the different tire strategies that we were seeing tonight. We saw under that caution around lap 50, we saw some guys come down and get a set of tires then. Did that thought even cross your mind?
Honestly, I really wanted to, but I only had like 6 laps on my tires, and I was afraid if we had a late race caution like we did, that I wouldn't have a set of tires left. Now, I was kind of hoping that caution would have came probably with like 8 or 10 to go, but unfortunately, it had to pop out right at the end, so it didn't really work out in my favor. But I feel like after they pitted and had their tires, I was able to at least keep up with them. But it forced me to pit a few laps earlier, and that's how they got me at the end.
Yeah, absolutely. But, all things considered, you had a great a great run here tonight. You led a few laps, got those all-important bonus points for doing so. But next week, we're going to a track that you didn't do too poorly at last time we were there, Pocono International. Your thoughts going into the Tricky Triangle next week?
Yeah, that's a fun track if you can get it right. I'm not sure how these trucks are going to run after the update here, but based off I think tonight, it should be a pretty fun race, and that tunnel turn will definitely catch out a few folks for sure. So I can't wait to see some of those front runners possibly bounce off the wall there.
Well, we're going to find out next week. But before we let you go, who do you need to thank before we let you go celebrate the podium tonight?
Well, first of all, I got to give a shout out to Brian Barnes. He was a little upset that he didn't get on the podium. He really wanted to be here. So I'm going to give a shout out to him and his sponsor, the Popsicle Truck. I also got to give a shout out to Beth Mills because she shows up more than my buddy Greg DeVries does on the chat. So nice job, Beth. And for you guys up in the booth at ESPN, you guys do an awesome job. So thank you week in and week out. And by the way, Dave, you did an awesome job last week going solo.
Oh, thank you very much, Kyle. Appreciate that. I kind of missed my partner, but he was tied up with something else. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. You guys are great every week. So thank you for doing it.
All right, Kyle McCartney, congratulations on the podium. We'll see you next week at Pocono.
Sounds good, guys. Have a good one.
So, Dave, we got another one in the books. Chicagoland, as we usually expected it was going to come down to pit strategy, and looks like Hollingsworth and Glazer guessed right.
I'll say they did, and we we close out the night here at Chicagoland, but we are looking forward, of course, to next week at Pocono up in Long Pond. But why don't we go through these finishers here? As Jeff Hollingsworth, your race winner, finishing atop the pile, followed by Bentley Glazer in second position in the number 87 Gatorade Chevrolet. Kyle McCartney in third. Brian Barnes finishes fourth. Christian Bishop, who is up 5 spots from where he started, finishes in the top 5. Rob Gall in the number 31 Chevrolet finishes 6th. Paul Crumry 7th. Dennis Fuson in 8th. And Jeff Schmeier in the Double Deuce finishing in 9th, with Carl Burke rounding out your top 10 in the number 53 Chevrolet, Tony.
Beltrami's Toyota going to come home in 11th. 12th going to Will Fletcher. Earl Weaver coming home in 13th. Angelo Espo in 14th. 15th goes to Barry Phil. Andre Savella coming home in 16th. Richard McClure in 17th, being scored as the last truck on the lead lap. Daryl Scott in 18th. 19th going to Javier Perez Torres. Julian Ricci in 20th, and David Weaver in 21st.
Charles Woods in the number 40 United States Postal Service Chevrolet finishes 22nd, with Jeffrey Schloss finishing 23rd. Keith Kelman, although that he gained 6 spots from where he had started, still finishes laps down, about 3 laps down in the 07 Toyota. Gary Johnson in 25th, Wayne Fleet in 26th, Scott Kukas, James Campbell, Wayne Hutchison, and Fred Williams round out the field. And quite a race tonight, especially with such limited cautions and everything just seeming to go the way that we hope for every week. Here in the Western States Racing League, they definitely prove week in and week out why they've been around for 46 seasons now on iRacing.com.
Oh, yeah, very much so. I mean, you expect long green flag runs out of this group. And I dare say we're going to see the same thing next week at Pocono. A track that can be a little bit difficult to get around at times. These guys usually get things figured out pretty quick.
Absolutely. And I look forward to being with you tomorrow night, of course, in the Way She Goes Racing League here on ESPN at 9 o'clock. So, folks, if you liked hanging out with us tonight, check us out tomorrow night. And as we're here in season 46 of the Western States Racing League, tomorrow we are on season 1 of The Way She Goes. So you can see both ends of the spectrum right here on ESPN. And for Tony Trapasso and myself, we do want to thank you for joining us tonight. And as you go through the day tomorrow, make sure to just enjoy 1 minute. So good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.